Hello, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about how to speak to people in English. Speaking English can feel hard at first, but with practice, you can get better. The key is to start with simple words and sentences. Don't worry about making mistakes. It's normal to make mistakes when you are learning something new. The most important thing is to try. When you talk to someone in English, start with a smile. A smile shows that you are friendly and that you want to talk. Smiling can help you feel more relaxed, and it makes the other person feel comfortable too. It's always a good idea to be polite. Politeness helps you to make a good impression, and people will be happy to talk to you. When you meet someone for the first time, you can start by saying hello or hi. These are very common greetings. After that, you can ask, how are you? This is a simple way to show that you care about how the other person is feeling. They may reply with, I'm fine, thank you, or I'm good. After they answer, it's nice to say, and you? This shows that you are interested in how they feel too. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can ask simple questions. For example, you can ask, what's your name? Or, where are you from? People like to talk about themselves, and these questions are a good way to learn more about them. Asking questions also helps you to keep talking without feeling nervous. Another good question is, what do you do? This means you are asking about the other person's job or what they study. They might say, I am a student, or I work in a store. You can then ask, do you like your job? Or, what do you study? These are easy questions, and they help you learn more about the other person. When someone asks you a question, remember to answer with a short, simple sentence. For example, if they ask, where are you from? You can say, I am from London, or I am from Spain. After answering, you can ask the same question back to them. You could say, and you? Where are you from? This keeps the conversation moving. Sometimes it's good to talk about the weather. The weather is a topic everyone can talk about. You can say, it's a nice day, or it's very cold today. The other person might agree with you, and then you can continue talking. If they say something about the weather, try to respond with a simple sentence. For example, if they say, it's hot today, you can reply, yes, it is. If you want to talk about your interests, you can use simple phrases like, I like music or I like to play soccer. If the other person also likes music or soccer, you can talk more about it. You can ask, what music do you like? Or do you play soccer? Talking about hobbies is a great way to make friends and keep a conversation going. When you are talking to someone, it's important to listen carefully. Listening is just as important as speaking. If you don't understand something, it's okay to ask them to repeat. You can say, can you say that again, please? Or, sorry, I didn't understand. People will not mind if you ask them to repeat. They know you are learning, and they will be happy to help. If you don't know how to say something, try to use simple words. You don't need to use difficult words when you are learning. For example, if you don't know the word for delicious, you can say, the food is very good. People will still understand what you mean. It's okay to keep things simple when you're learning. Also, don't be afraid of silence. Sometimes when you're talking, there might be a short pause. This is normal, and it gives you time to think. You don't have to rush when you're speaking. Take your time, and try to say what you want. The other person will wait for you, and they will understand that you are learning. If you are not sure how to end a conversation, you can say, "It was nice talking to you," or "I have to go now." These are polite ways to end a conversation. You can also say, "See you later," or "Goodbye" before you leave if you're talking to someone new. This will leave a good impression. It's a good idea to practice speaking English as much as you can. The more you practice, the easier it will become. Try to find people who also want to learn English, and you can practice together. You can also practice by listening to English videos or songs. This will help you hear how words are pronounced, and you can try to say them too. When you are talking to people, don't worry if you don't know all the words. You don't need a big vocabulary to start speaking English. Even if you know only a few words, you can still have a conversation. Start with what you know, and slowly you will learn more words as you keep practicing. Remember, the more you speak, the more confident you will become. At first, you may feel shy or nervous, but that's okay. Everyone feels that way when they are learning a new language. Just keep trying, and little by little you will improve. Don't give up. In the end, speaking English is all about communication. It's not about being perfect. It's about being able to talk to others and share your ideas. People will understand that you are learning, and they will appreciate your efforts. So, be patient with yourself and keep practicing. With time, you will become better at speaking English, and it will become more natural for you. Now, let's talk about how to keep a conversation going in English. When you are speaking to someone, it's important to ask questions. Questions help the conversation continue. They also show that you are interested in the other person. Asking questions is easy when you use simple words. For example, you can ask, "Do you like coffee?" Or, "Do you have a pet?" These are easy questions that anyone can answer. The other person might say, "Yes, I like coffee," or "No, I don't have a pet." You can then say something like, "I like coffee too," or "I have a dog." This helps you share something about yourself, and the other person can learn more about you. Another good question to ask is about people's free time. You can ask, "What do you do in your free time?" This means you are asking what the person likes to do when they are not working or studying. The other person might say, "I like to read books," or "I like to watch movies." Then you can ask more questions like, "What kind of books do you read?" Or, "What is your favorite movie?" These questions help the conversation grow. You don't need to ask big or difficult questions. Simple questions like these are good because they are easy to understand and they make the conversation interesting. Talking about family is also a nice way to start a conversation. People often like to talk about their family. You can ask, "Do you have brothers or sisters?" The person might answer, "Yes, I have one brother." Or, "No, I don't have any brothers or sisters." After they answer, you can tell them about your family. For example, you can say, "I have 2 sisters," or "I have a big family." Talking about family helps people feel close, and it's a topic that many people enjoy discussing. If you don't know what to say, that's okay. Sometimes it can be hard to think of new questions. If you feel stuck, just take a deep breath. You can repeat something the other person said. For example, if they say, I like to travel, you can say, oh, you like to travel? This shows that you are listening, and it helps the other person keep talking. They might tell you more about the places they have visited or the places they want to go. Repeating what the other person says is a good way to keep the conversation going, especially when you don't know what to say next. Let's talk about speaking clearly. When you are talking to someone, it's important to speak clearly so they can understand you. You don't need to speak very fast. In fact, speaking slowly is a good idea when you are learning English. This gives you time to think about what you want to say, and it also helps the other person understand you better. Don't worry if you feel like you're speaking too slowly. It's better to speak slowly and clearly than to speak quickly and make mistakes. Pronunciation is also important when you are speaking English. Pronunciation means how you say the words. Sometimes English words can be difficult to pronounce. If you are not sure how to say a word, you can ask the other person. You can say, how do you say this word? Or, can you help me with my pronunciation? People are usually happy to help, and they will tell you how to say the word correctly. Over time, your pronunciation will get better with practice. When you are talking to someone, it's good to make eye contact. Eye contact means looking at the person's face, especially their eyes, while you are speaking. This shows that you are paying attention, and it helps the conversation feel more personal. In some cultures, people do not make much eye contact, but in English-speaking countries, eye contact is usually seen as polite. If you feel shy, you don't have to look at the person all the time. You can look away for a few seconds and then look back at them. The important thing is to show that you are listening and that you care about what the other person is saying. Nod your head when the other person is speaking. You can nod your head to show that you understand. This is a simple way to communicate without using words. You can also say yes or I see while the other person is talking. These small words show that you are listening and following the conversation. Sometimes, when you are talking to someone, you might not understand everything they say. This is okay. It's normal to have trouble understanding when you are learning a new language. If you don't understand, don't be afraid to ask for help. You can say, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Or, can you speak more slowly, please? Most people will be happy to help you by speaking more slowly or saying the sentence again. It's also important to remember that you don't have to understand every single word. Even native English speakers don't always understand every word in a conversation. What's more important is understanding the general meaning of what the person is saying. If you miss a word or two, that's okay. Try to focus on the main idea of the conversation. With practice, you will start to understand more and more. When you are talking, it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when they are learning a new language. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. Don't feel embarrassed if you say something wrong. The other person will understand that you are learning, and they won't mind. In fact, they might even help you by correcting your mistake. For example, if you say, I go to the store, the other person might say, oh, you mean I went to the store. This is helpful because it shows you the correct way to say it. Don't feel bad about making mistakes. Each mistake is a chance to learn something new. Another good way to improve your English is to practice with different people. Each person speaks a little differently, so talking to many different people can help you get used to different speaking styles. Some people speak fast, and some people speak slowly. Some people use a lot of short words, while others might use longer, more difficult words. By practicing with many people, you can learn to understand different types of English. You can also improve your speaking skills by listening to how different people talk. Listening is a big part of learning how to talk in English. The more you listen, the better you will become at speaking. When you listen to other people, pay attention to the words they use and how they put sentences together. Try to repeat some of the things they say in your own conversations. This will help you remember new words and phrases. You can also listen to English on TV, in movies, or in songs. Even if you don't understand everything, listening helps you get used to the sound of the language. If you are watching a TV show or movie in English, you can turn on the subtitles. Subtitles are the words that appear at the bottom of the screen while the characters are speaking. This can help you follow the conversation and learn new words. After watching the show with subtitles, you can try watching it again without them. This will help you practice understanding spoken English without needing to read the words. You can also practice your English by talking to yourself. This might sound strange, but it's a great way to practice. You can practice simple conversations in your head or out loud. For example, you can imagine you are talking to a friend and then practice what you would say. You can also describe things around you in English. For example, if you are at home, you can say, "This is my kitchen," or "I am sitting on a chair." Practicing in this way helps you get more comfortable with speaking English, and you can do it any time, even when you are alone. Let's talk a little more about asking for help. When you are learning English, it's okay to ask people for help. If you don't know a word, you can say, "What does this word mean?" Or, "How do you say this in English?" People will usually be happy to help you. It's also a good idea to carry a small notebook with you. If someone teaches you a new word, you can write it down so you can remember it later. Writing things down helps you remember them better, and you can look at your notes whenever you need to. In English, there are many ways to say the same thing. For example, if you want to ask someone if they are okay, you can say, "Are you okay?" Or, "How are you doing?" Or, "Is everything all right?" These are all polite ways to check on someone. Don't worry if you don't know all the different ways to say something starting with the phrases you know and slowly learn new ones. As you practice, you will get better at using different phrases. When you are speaking, try to use simple words. Simple words are easier for you to remember, and they are also easier for the other person to understand. You don't need to use big or difficult words to have a good conversation. For example, instead of saying, "I am famished," you can say, "I am very hungry." Both sentences mean the same thing, but the second one is easier to understand. Using simple words also makes it easier for you to focus on the conversation and not worry too much about your vocabulary. If you are not sure how to say something, you can try using other words to explain it. This is called paraphrasing. For example, if you don't know the word for library, you can say, "The place where you go to read books." The other person will understand what you mean, and this helps you keep talking without stopping the conversation. Paraphrasing is a great skill to have when you are learning a new language because it helps you communicate even when you don't know all the words. Speaking English is like any other skill. It gets better with practice. The more you practice, the more confident you will become. You can practice by talking to friends, classmates, or even strangers. If you are shy, you can start by practicing with people you know well. As you get more comfortable, you can try talking to new people. It's okay to feel nervous at first. Everyone feels a little nervous when they are learning something new. Just remember that the more you practice, the easier it will get. When you are practicing, try to speak out loud. Speaking out loud helps you hear how the words sound, and it also helps you get used to forming the words with your mouth. This is important because speaking a new language is not just about knowing the words, it's also about being able to say them clearly. Speaking out loud, even if you are alone, helps you get better at pronouncing the words correctly. If you have a friend who is also learning English, you can practice together. You can take turns asking each other questions and answering them. This is a fun way to practice, and it also helps you feel more confident because you know that your friend is learning too. You can help each other by correcting mistakes and learning new words together. Practicing with a friend makes learning more enjoyable, and it gives you both a chance to improve. Sometimes you might feel like you are not making progress, but don't worry. Learning a new language takes time, and it's normal to have ups and downs. Some days you will feel like you are learning a lot, and other days you might feel stuck. This is all part of the process. The important thing is to keep practicing and not give up. Each day you practice, you are getting better, even if it doesn't always feel like it. Let's continue talking about speaking English with more tips and examples. I know learning English can be hard, but don't worry. The more you practice, the better you will get. The key is to not give up, even when it feels difficult. One important thing to remember is to be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time. You will not learn everything in one day or even in 1 month, but if you keep practicing every day, little by little, you will improve. It is like learning any new skill. For example, if you want to learn to play a musical instrument, you have to practice every day. At first, you might only know how to play 1 or 2 notes, but with time, you will learn how to play songs. It's the same with learning English. Start with what you know and keep adding new words and sentences. Over time, you will see how much you have learned. A good way to practice English is to talk to yourself. I know this sounds a little strange, but it can really help. You can talk about simple things. For example, when you are cooking, you can say, "I am cutting the vegetables," or "I am boiling water." When you are getting ready in the morning, you can say, "I am brushing my teeth," or "I am getting dressed." Talking to yourself in English helps you practice using the language in everyday situations. It also helps you get used to thinking in English. The more you think in English, the easier it will be to speak. Another great way to practice is by watching TV shows or movies in English. When you watch something in English, you hear how people talk in real life. You can listen to how they ask questions, how they answer, and how they use words in different situations can arise when you don't understand everything. That's perfectly fine. You don't need to grasp every single word to make progress. Focus on the overall idea. You can also enable subtitles to help you follow along. After watching, try repeating some of the sentences. This will assist you in retaining new words and expressions. Music is another enjoyable way to learn English. You can listen to English songs and try to sing along. Music helps you grasp the rhythm of the language and enhances your pronunciation. You can begin with simple songs that have easy lyrics, and as you improve, you can try more challenging ones. Singing along with music helps you practice speaking and makes learning more fun. It's also beneficial to read in English. You don't have to start with lengthy books or difficult material. You can begin with something basic like short stories or children's books. These texts use straightforward language and short sentences, making them easier to understand. When you read, try saying the words out loud. This will help you practice pronunciation. If you come across a word you don't know, write it down and look it up later. Then, try incorporating the new word into your own sentences. Reading is an excellent way to build vocabulary and see how words are used in context. If you enjoy writing, you can keep a journal in English. Each day, write a few sentences about what you did or how you feel. For example, you might write, "Today I went to the park," or "I feel happy because it's sunny." Writing helps you practice using English and also allows you to organize your thoughts. You don't need to write much. Even a few sentences each day will help you improve. Over time, you'll see how much more fluent your writing becomes. When you talk to someone in English, try to speak slowly and clearly. Don't stress about speaking quickly. It's better to take your time and say the words correctly. Speaking slowly also gives you more time to think about what you want to say. It's normal to pause and reflect during a conversation. There's no need to rush. The other person will understand that you're learning, and they'll be patient with you. Sometimes, when you're speaking, you might forget a word. This happens to everyone, even people who speak English as their first language. If you forget a word, don't panic. You can describe what you mean in a different way. For instance, if you forget the word restaurant, you could say, "the place where people go to eat." The other person will understand, and this will help keep the conversation flowing. Describing things in different ways is a valuable skill when you're learning a new language. Another important tip is to listen attentively when others are speaking. Listening is just as crucial as speaking. By listening closely, you learn new words and phrases and also see how sentences are structured. If you don't understand something, it's okay to ask for clarification. You can say, "Can you repeat that, please?" Or, "I didn't catch that. Could you say it again?" People won't mind repeating things for you. They understand that you're learning and will be happy to assist. It's a great idea to practice with different people. Each person speaks a little differently, and this will help you get accustomed to various accents and speaking styles. Some people speak very quickly, while others talk more slowly. Some use a lot of informal language or slang, while others use more formal expressions. By practicing with a range of people, you'll learn to understand different varieties of English, which will help you feel more confident in your speaking. When learning English, it's important to celebrate your progress. Every time you learn a new word or use a new sentence correctly, you are improving. It's easy to feel like you're not advancing fast enough, but remember that every small step counts. Even if you learn just one new word a day, By the end of the year, you'll know over 300 new words. So, don't be too hard on yourself. Be proud of what you've accomplished and keep moving forward. It's also useful to set small, achievable goals for yourself. For example, you could set a goal to learn 5 new words this week, or to have one short conversation in English each day. Setting manageable goals makes learning more structured and gives you something to strive toward. When you reach a goal, you'll feel proud of yourself, and that sense of achievement will motivate you to keep learning. Another tip is to incorporate English into your everyday life as much as possible. The more you use English, the more natural it will become for you. The more you use English, the more comfortable you will become with it. You can label objects around your house with their English names. For example, you might place a label on your refrigerator that says refrigerator, or on your door that says door. This will help you learn new words and keep English present in your mind throughout the day. You can also try thinking in English. This is an excellent way to practice when you're alone. For instance, when you're walking or sitting quietly, try to think about what you're doing in English. You could say to yourself, I am walking to the store, or I am drinking coffee. Thinking in English helps you get familiar with the language and makes it easier to speak when you're conversing with others. If you have friends who are also learning English, you can practice together. You can have simple conversations and help each other when you make mistakes. Learning with a friend is fun because you can motivate each other and share new words and phrases. You can also correct each other's mistakes in a supportive way, which helps both of you improve. Remember, making mistakes is okay. It's a natural part of the learning process. Every time you make a mistake, you're learning something new. Don't be afraid to make mistakes when speaking. The most important thing is to keep practicing. People will understand that you're learning, and they will be patient with you. It's also crucial to practice speaking regularly. If you only practice now and then, it will take longer to improve. But if you practice a little each day, you'll see much faster progress. You don't need to practice for long hours. Just 10 or 15 minutes a day can make a big difference. The key is consistency. The more you practice, the more confident you will become. If you're nervous about speaking to new people, you can start by practicing in front of a mirror. This will help you get used to seeing yourself speak and make you feel more comfortable when talking to others. You can practice basic conversations like introducing yourself or asking questions. Practicing in front of a mirror boosts your confidence and gives you a chance to improve your pronunciation and body language. Another important point is that everyone learns at their own pace. Some people may pick up things quickly, while others need more time. This is completely normal. Don't compare your progress to others. Focus on your own journey and keep working toward your goals. Learning a language is a personal experience, and everyone's path is different. If you ever feel frustrated or stuck, take a break. It's okay to rest when you're feeling tired. Sometimes stepping away for a short time can help you return to your studies with a fresh perspective. After a break, you might find that things are easier to understand. The important thing is to keep moving forward, even if it's just a little bit at a time. You can also join online communities or forums where people practice English. These groups give you the opportunity to talk with people from all over the world who are also learning the language. You can ask questions, share tips, and practice conversations. It's a great way to connect with others and learn from each other. Another useful tip is to record yourself speaking English. You can record a short message or a conversation and then listen to it later. This allows you to hear how you sound when speaking. You can notice things like pronunciation, speed, whether you're speaking too fast or too slowly, and areas where you can improve. Listening to your recordings helps you track your progress and identify things you need to work on. When learning English, it's normal to feel nervous or shy at times. This is a natural part of trying something new, but the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become. Speaking a new language requires courage, and every time you practice, you are building that courage. So don't be afraid to speak, even if you feel shy. Each time you speak, you're getting better. If you ever feel discouraged, remind yourself why you started learning English. Maybe you want to travel, or perhaps you want to connect with people from different countries. Whatever your reason, keep it in mind and use it as motivation. Learning English opens up many doors, and it's worth the effort. Remember, it's important to practice every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Every small effort you make will help you improve your English. One of the key things to focus on when learning English is listening. Listening helps you understand how people speak in everyday conversations. You can listen to conversations, TV shows, music, or podcasts. Even if you don't catch every word, don't worry. Try to focus on the main ideas. Over time, you'll start understanding more and more. If you come across a word you don't know, write it down and look it up later. Writing down new words helps you remember them better. You can also try using the new word in a sentence. For example, if you learn the word delicious, you might say, "This food is delicious." Practicing new words like this helps you retain them and use them in conversation. Another way to practice is by asking questions. When speaking with someone, don't hesitate to ask for clarification if you don't understand something. You can say, "Can you explain that, please?" Or, "What does that mean?" People will be happy to help, and asking questions is a great way to improve your understanding. It's okay to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when learning a new language. Mistakes are part of the process, and every time you make one, you're learning something new. Don't worry if you say something incorrectly. The important thing is to keep talking and practicing. People will understand that you're learning, and they'll be patient with you. Sometimes it can be helpful to record yourself speaking. You can record yourself reading a sentence or talking about your day, then listen to it later. This helps you hear how you sound when speaking English. You'll notice if you're pronouncing words correctly or if you need to slow down. Listening to your own recordings can help you identify areas to improve and make you feel more comfortable speaking. A good tip for improving your English is to practice speaking out loud, even if you're alone. For example, while cooking, you can say, "I am cutting vegetables," or when walking, "I am going to the store." Speaking out loud helps you get used to forming words with your mouth, and it also improves your pronunciation and clarity. You can also talk about your daily activities, like, "I woke up at 7 a.m., or "I'm having breakfast." This helps you practice English in real-life situations. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel to use English in your everyday life. If you're feeling shy or nervous about speaking with others, practicing in front of a mirror can help. Stand in front of the mirror and imagine you're speaking to someone. You can practice introducing yourself or asking simple questions. This will boost your confidence and help you get comfortable with the process of speaking. Practicing in front of a mirror is a great way to build your confidence before speaking with others. Another great way to practice is to read simple books in English. You don't need to start with complex texts. Short stories or books for beginners are a good place to begin. Reading helps you learn new vocabulary and understand how sentences are structured. When you read, try saying the words out loud. This will help you practice pronunciation and speaking clearly. If you encounter a word you don't know, write it down and look it up later. Writing in English is also a helpful way to practice. You don't need to write long essays. Start by writing short sentences about your day. For example, today, I went to the park. Or, I'm happy because it's sunny. Writing helps you organize your thoughts, practice grammar, and remember new words. It's also a great way to learn how to use them in sentences. If you have friends who are also learning English, you can practice together. You can take turns asking each other questions and answering them. For example, you could ask, "What did you do today?" And your friend could answer, "I went to the store." Practicing with a friend makes learning more enjoyable. You can help each other by correcting mistakes and sharing new words. It's also a great way to build confidence because you know your friend is learning too. Another important thing to remember when learning English is to be patient with yourself. Learning a new language takes time, and progress can feel slow. However, with consistent practice, you will improve. Don't rush the process. Celebrate your small successes. Every step, no matter how small, is progress. You won't learn everything in one day. Some days you might feel like you're making a lot of progress, and other days you might feel stuck. This is completely normal. The key is to keep practicing even when it feels difficult. Don't give up. Every day you practice, you're improving, even if it doesn't always feel that way. It can also help to set small goals for yourself. For example, you might set a goal to learn 5 new words this week or to have one short conversation in English every day. Setting small, achievable goals keeps you focused and gives you something to work towards. When you reach a goal, you'll feel proud of yourself, and this will motivate you to continue. A fun way to practice English is by watching TV shows or movies in English. By doing this, you get to hear how people speak in real-life situations. You can pay attention to how they ask questions, how they respond, and how they use words in different contexts. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Just focus on the main ideas. If you find it difficult, you can turn on subtitles to help. After watching, try repeating some of the sentences you heard. This will help you remember new words and phrases. Listening to music is another enjoyable way to learn. You can listen to songs in English and try singing along. Music helps you learn the rhythm of the language and can improve your pronunciation. Start with simple songs with easy words, and as you get better, try more challenging ones. Singing along is a fun way to practice speaking and makes learning more enjoyable. Talking to yourself is also a great way to practice. For example, when you're doing something simple like cooking or cleaning, you can describe what you're doing in English. You could say, I'm washing the dishes, or I'm cleaning the table. Talking to yourself helps you practice using English in everyday situations and get used to thinking in English. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. If you like writing, keeping a diary in English is a great practice. Every day, you can write a few sentences about what you did or how you felt. For example, today I went to the park, or I feel happy because it's sunny. Writing in a diary helps you practice using English and remember new words and phrases. It's also a good way to track your progress and see how much you've improved over time. Remember that learning a language is a journey. There will be times when it feels easy and other times when it feels hard. That's perfectly fine. The most important thing is to keep going, even if you only practice for a few minutes each day. With consistent effort, you'll continue to make progress, and the more you practice, the better you'll get. One of the best ways to learn English is by using it in your daily life. For example, when you go to the store, try speaking to the cashier in English. You can ask, "How much is this?" or "Where is the milk?" These small conversations help you practice speaking and give you a chance to use what you've learned in real-life situations. Another way to practice English is to label things in your house with their English names. For instance, you can label your refrigerator, your door, or other items around the house. This helps you learn new words and keeps English in your mind throughout the day. You can also practice thinking in English. This is a great way to use English when you're alone. For example, while walking or sitting quietly, try to think about what you're doing in English. You can think to yourself, "I'm walking to the store," or "I'm drinking coffee." Thinking in English helps you get used to the language and makes speaking easier when you're talking to someone else. If you feel nervous about speaking to new people, start by practicing with people you know well. You can practice with friends, family, or classmates. The more you practice with familiar people, the more confident you'll feel when speaking to others. It's normal to feel nervous at first, but with practice, it gets easier. It's okay to pause and think when you're speaking. You don't have to speak quickly. Taking your time allows you to think about what you want to say and helps you pronounce the words more clearly. Don't worry if you need a moment to gather your thoughts. It's perfectly fine. It's also okay to ask the other person to repeat something if you didn't understand. You can say, "Can you say that again, please?" Or, "I didn't understand. Could you repeat that?" People will be happy to help because they know you're learning. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. It's part of the learning process. If you don't understand something, it's perfectly okay. You can say, "Can you say that again, please?" Or, "I didn't understand. Can you explain?" People will be happy to help you. It's also important to listen carefully when others are speaking. Listening helps you learn new words and phrases, and it also helps you understand how sentences are structured. The more you listen, the better you will understand. If you don't understand something, don't hesitate to ask. You can say, "What does that mean?" Or, "Can you explain that, please?" Asking questions helps you improve your understanding and learn faster. Another helpful tip is to practice with different people. Each person speaks a little differently, and this will help you get used to hearing different accents and speaking styles. Some people speak quickly, while others speak more slowly. Some use more slang or casual words, while others use more formal language. By practicing with a variety of people, you'll learn how to understand different types of English, and you'll become more confident in speaking. If you feel stuck or frustrated, it's okay to take a break. Learning a language takes time, and it's important to be patient with yourself. Sometimes, taking a short break can help you come back with a fresh mind. After a break, you might find that things are easier to understand. The most important thing is to keep going and not give up. You can also join online groups or forums where people practice English. These groups give you a chance to talk to people from all over the world who are also learning English. You can ask questions, share tips, and practice having conversations. It's a great way to meet new people and learn from each other. In conclusion, learning English takes time, patience, and practice. The more you practice, the better you will get. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and always remember to ask questions when you need help. Keep practicing every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Little by little, you will improve and become more confident in speaking English. Keep going and don't give up. You are doing a great job. Thank you for listening. I hope you feel more confident about speaking English now. Just remember to smile, be polite, and keep practicing. You're doing great. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay updated with all our latest videos. Happy learning, everyone!